first, because one of my law clerks, she's translating into Korean right now our principles around immigration reform. So I want to talk about our immigration policy platform with my friend Dong-Yoon Kim, who's with the National Korean American Service and Education Consortium, or NAKASAC. NAKASAC is a national, one of the few national Korean organizations. Dong-Yoon runs their Virginia office, so he's in the state of Virginia. And we work very closely on a lot of civic engagement and immigration reform issues. So Dong-Yoon will also share what NAKASAC has been doing, right, Dong-Yoon?
Yes.
And Dong-Yoon은 한국말 너무 잘해요.
진짜요?
와인더 조지아에서도 살았어요.
오.
근데 우리 he left us. I'm mad at him. But we'll first talk about our 10,000 Korean Votes campaign, okay? And then we'll email some of this stuff for you. But as all of our wonderful press know, you guys know that one of the main things that we do is register Asian Americans and Korean Americans to vote and then push Koreans and other Asians to vote. We've been doing that from the start, since 2010. We say that that is our main organizing tool, meaning that's the main way we try and get our community to get informed. And then issues like immigration reform, why do we talk about it? Because people want to know why should I vote? What am I voting for? So that's why we talk about the other issues. If you want to know why you should vote, here are some of the issues that we think are important, right? So in 2012, you might remember, did you guys remember seeing this, this billboard? It was on 85 for a month before the presidential election. It was between Steve Reynolds and Beaver Ruin. You can see 투표 in Korean. It has vote in 7 different languages. Vote for our future in 2012 was our slogan. Why? Because when we talked to Asian parents, they said, I don't need to vote. I came here for my children's future. They will vote. They will be the president of the United States. So we realized, how do we get, especially first generation, 1.5 generation adults to vote, if we remind them that just like everything else you do for your children, you have to model your behavior. You want your child to go to church, you have to go to church. You take them to church. You want your child to be the president of the United States, a senator, a CEO of a company. As parents, you have to model that behavior. I'm going to just tell you a quick story about second generation American-born Korean intern I had. She was a senior at Emory University, very, very smart girl. When she interned, I had her help me with this. You know what she said to me at the end of her internship? She said, Helen, even though I'm second generation, I grew up in a first generation household. So my mind is first generation. Even for me, when I was at Emory, I joined, Korea Club, other clubs. I never thought about student council. I never thought about what I could do to help a lot of people. And she said, I think it's because I grew up in a house where my parents never did anything like that, never talked about anything. So I'm not saying this to make us feel 창피해. I'm just telling you that if you're parents, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Vote for Our Future was how we talked about voting. It was very successful. In 2012, we did 82 voter registration drives, registered more than 1,400 new voters from 4 different southern states. I can't remember all of the states. It was Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, I think. We organized over 200 volunteers from all of our community groups to work with us, because me and Alice, we can't do it by ourselves. We knocked on almost 3,000 doors in certain neighborhoods, especially Duluth. Knock, knock, knock. Hi. Because a lot of people, if they've never voted before, they want to talk to someone, person to person. They feel more comfortable if a Korean person knocks on their door, right? And then we called them again, spent 300 hours on the phone calling people over and over again. And the Korean vote made a difference in 2012. Do you know Pedro Marin? So before 2012, his district was here. It was more Doraville and more Norcross. But after redistricting, his district changed and went into Koreatown, the new Koreatown. His district also changed to 65% Republican. He used to be 65% Democrat, and Pedro Marin is a Democrat. Then he was redistricted into 65% Republican. We do not support any candidate. You know, we don't say vote this way, that way. We don't do that. But we did work in Duluth because Koreans live there. And the Koreans came out to vote. He is well known in the Korean community. Guess what? Even though he's a Democrat, he won. He won that election against the Republican running against him for that seat. And he won because mostly the Koreans came out and voted for him. Because I think our community, we don't care Republican, Democrat. We care, do we know you? Do you support the issues that are important to us? And he also told me later, he won by the most number of votes in his 10-year history as a politician. Isn't that amazing? He had less votes in his Democratic district than the amount of votes he got in 2012. I'm happy to send you all of these numbers. Okay? Do you guys have any questions? Just stop me anytime. And so last year, you know, every year we do elections. So it's every 2 years the state senate, state representatives run, right? And sometimes the governor. And every other year we have elections like city council, mayor, right? So last year we focused on Duluth city council elections and mayor races, right? Because Duluth very large, and Norcross, some other cities. Our goal was to show again that our work, our community, we can make a difference changing elections. And guess what? In the city of Duluth, most people don't even come out to vote for city council and mayor races. We increased the voter turnout by more than twice the last election. Only 663 votes cast in the municipal election 4 years before, almost 1,540 votes. So I show this to you because we believe that the work that we're doing on the ground, I call it organizing work, it really makes a difference. And I personally, I know Andy agrees with me, I'm sick and tired of hearing white people, politicians, and even some Korean people saying our vote doesn't matter, we don't vote, we don't care. Because at least the people we talk to and touch, they care, and when they vote, it doesn't have to be that many people to win an election, okay? So this year, we're doing it again. This year is a huge election, I'm sure you know. You know, unfortunately, Eugene Yu lost the primary. But, you know, the governor is running. Oh, don't lose her. You know, Governor Deal versus Senator Jason Carter, Michelle Nunn for congressional seat. That's a huge race. A lot of people are running. There's a runoff on the Republican side. A lot of races at the state level. So we decided this year we have a specific campaign for only the Korean community. It's just for the Korean community. Our big campaign slogan is "This American Votes." Because a lot of people think American, they think white people, black people. But we know we're American too, right? American doesn't mean you have one color. I think we too do that sometimes. We say American and we're thinking white people, but we're American. Even if you're not a citizen yet, you live here, you have a job here, you're American, trust me. So we're doing a This American Votes campaign, so you're gonna start seeing this slogan. We're gonna make buttons, hopefully if we have enough torn t-shirts. We're gonna make yard signs, and hopefully, you know, this isn't about vote for someone, it's going to be really pretty yard signs so that people can put it in their, oh, that's okay, in their neighborhood. So hopefully if you want one, let us know, and you can put it in your yard. It's going to say, "This American family votes." Basically, 동네를 동네, so people will feel the energy. But I want to talk now specifically about our Korean campaign, which is called 10,000 Korean Votes, or 10,000 표? 10,000 표, 10,000 votes. Okay? So Alice and I, before we did this, began to do a lot of research based on our census numbers, American Community Survey, which is the most accurate numbers, Secretary of State. Koreans in Gwinnett are the largest Asian group in Gwinnett. We know this, right? We actually are way bigger than 24,982, but this is based on how many Koreans complete the census. And by the way, another press conference, I really want to talk about that. Because I know Andy and I have talked many times, we need more money coming to the Korean community. All this funding goes to Gwinnett, how much goes to Haninhue? Or how much goes to a Korean language program? You know why we don't get money? We don't vote and we don't fill out the census. Okay, that's our fault. But we're going to do our job to try and educate. But according to the census, which is the government count, a little under 25,000 Koreans in Gwinnett, more than 75% say they speak English less than well. So that means limited English proficient. Oh no, I'm wrong.
Above.
More than, see, I can't read Korean. Okay, more than 75% over 18. That means voting age. And more than 50% say they don't speak English very well. So more than half. Okay, next slide, Kenyon.
I get a question.
Yeah.
The other slide. What was the meaning of the number 10,000?
Okay, I'll tell you in a minute. Oh, you know, we can go down to the bottom. Is there? There it is.
So
Okay.
you're planning on to have that borders?
I will, you know, so there's a, you know, so sometimes if you get too detailed, you know, when you're trying to get people to, well, it gets too complicated. But for our journalists, I will explain to you. There's the Voting Rights Act. That's the federal law that provides some basic protections around voting. Because, you know, of course, historically in America, there's been a lot of discrimination against certain citizens not being able to vote, mostly black people. Okay, but also against immigrants, including Asian immigrants. And so the Voting Rights Act sets up a lot of, you know, parameters and checks so that, okay, federally, you can't do this. The states have some leeway, but they still have to follow some of the basic guidelines of the Voting Rights Act. One part of the Voting Rights Act, which is Section 203, it's called the Minority Language Provision, okay? What that says is, if you live, in Georgia it's a county, so in Georgia, if you live in a county where there are 5% or 10,000 same language people that are 18 and over and say they speak English less than well, then that county needs to provide ballots and translators in that language. Because in terms of the government, if you have 10,000 people in your county or 5% of your population in that county speaks one language, and because of that language maybe they have difficulty voting, that could be discrimination, because if Korean citizens can't go to vote, that's a problem. So that's why we say 10,000 votes. Okay? The long and the short of it is, based on our calculations, we can go back. We can go back to this. We have at least 11,000 Koreans in Gwinnett County voting age and eligible to vote. We have that much at least. Currently, only 4,605 are registered to vote. Now that's Chengpia for sure. But if we could get our Korean community in Gwinnett to register to vote, and sign a petition, we believe we can start putting pressure, okay, on Gwinnett County to voluntarily put ballots in Korean, right? Another thing too is we can start working with census to help them understand that your count is wrong, and also get our community to fill out the census. That's really what we need to do. And the other good thing about voting, once you vote, that's how you make sure your children, your decisions about the Hope Scholarship, where does my taxpayer dollars go? Okay, how are my businesses taxed? How about immigration reform? The comfort women thing. All those things, we can make a better impact by voting. So another example I want to show, even now, this is not if we register. Right now, this is how many Korean citizens live in Duluth, okay, that vote. This is how many people came out and voted in the Duluth city elections. Do you see? Even if the Koreans that are currently registered voted in the city of Duluth, we could elect whoever we want to run that city, right? I know Koreans have complained about, oh, the city of Duluth is too small, we should increase the borders. You know, best way to do that? Have a Korean run for mayor and city council. We have enough people that can elect Korean people into Duluth City Council right now. I bring this example up because I really am so piquant of hearing our own community say we don't matter. We do matter, but I can't vote for people. So that's why we're launching this 10,000 votes campaign. You're going to see this more. I want to say that Haninhue, Clayton, and Mr. O has already endorsed this campaign. The CAGRO, Mr. Peck Kim, has endorsed this campaign. Andy's Chamber has endorsed this campaign. Reverend James Kim of Atlanta, Korea, UMC, the United Methodist Church. We're going to continue to ask for community endorsements, and it's really just so everybody keeps hearing about it, registering people to vote, coming out to vote. You'll see billboards again in the Korean language, but we need, we're really going to need the media help. Sky, do you have the, can you hand out the media package? So one thing, and Sky and Jenny and Hannah, why don't y'all introduce yourselves in Korean? Say who you are, where you go to school.
안녕하세요. 저 최하늘이고요. 스카이쇼. 그리고 저기 애란에서 인턴이에요.
She goes to, what school do you go to?
John Marshall Law School.
It's a future 변호사.
안녕하세요. 제 이름 제니고요. 에모리 대학교 재학 중.
네, 안녕하세요. 이한나고요. MB로 지금 3학년 올라요.
Okay. You will be seeing these young, incredible law clerks again and interns because they will be calling your print places, talking to your salesperson or publisher to see if the newspaper would work with us as a media partner. So you see what we're saying for, we're willing to pay for ads. We're just asking from the media to give us a really big discount because we only have so much money. You know, I know that we're not trying, so we want to support our media, and so we're going to pay something, but we will come and visit with each of your sales staff. But what we're hoping is that every week, at least starting the 1st of August, in different papers, you know, like maybe Monday in Chosun Ilgu, Wednesday in the other newspaper.
Hold on. Does this number came from the Gwinnett, only Gwinnett County?
Gwinnett County only. Gwinnett County only.
Citizens from Korea.
Huh?
Citizens from Korea.
No. U.S. citizen.
U.S. Korean citizens.
U.S. Korean citizens.
Right. This is the number of people that we estimate are kyokbos over the age of 18 able to vote in America.
미국 인구 10년마다 할 때 인구 조사를 할 때 거기에다가 자기가 이 한국 사람이냐 중국 사람이냐 체크를 할 수 있는 칸이 있어. 그게 뭐 맨데토리는 아니지만 그거를 한 사람들이 체크한 사람들이 있어요. 그렇게 됨으로 인해서 이 사람들이 지금 이 미국 인구 조사에서 나온 조사의 숫자는 항상 보면은 한인 사회에서 집계 된 이 수치보다는 한참 적게 나오는 이유 중에 하나가 다 참여를 하지도 않거니와 또 유학생이나 여기에 잠시 들리는 사람들은 거기에 참여할 필요도 없다고 해서 안 하기 때문에 숫자는 틀리게 나오는데 한국 사람이 몇 명이든 이러한 통계는 센서스 인구 조사를 할 때 거기에 자기가 나는 이 한국계라는 거를 해줬기 때문에 나오는 숫자들이에요, 전부 다. 그러니까 미국 업체들이나 이러한 정부에서 볼 때는 이러한 거에 토대를 하기 때문에 굉장히 좀 불리할 때도 있습니다만 중요한 것은 Can you go back to Duluth, the numbers? 이거는 그넥 카운티에 지금 한인으로서 투표권을 행사를 할 수 있는 사람들의 숫자입니다. 11,114명이 가능하다는 숫자가 조사가 된 것이고, 그러나 2013년 통계를 봤을 때는 이 중에서 4,605명이 그것을 유권자 등록을 했다는 겁니다. 그러나 next slide.
This one?
No, it's fine. No. 둘루스 시를 본다면은 둘루스 시에는 16,014명이 거주하고 있는 거로 나와 있습니다. 그러니까 1614명이 거주하고 있는 것으로 나오는데
유권자겠죠?
예?
아니 그냥 거주.
1614명이
시민권자겠죠.
시민권자로서 거주를 하고 있는 겁니다. 그런데 2013년도에 둘루스의 이 투표를 한 숫자가 1,191명으로 나왔다는 것이죠.
잠깐만, Andy.
저기
Alice. Oh, is that right? Is Andy
저게-
right?
네, 그러니까 이거는 누가 투표할 수 있는 거 아니고 그
거주.
614명이 레지스터 돼 있어요.
벌써 deleted, registered 했어요.
보너스 레지스트가
voter
돼요.
registration
선거 등록이에요.
Oh, so do we
유권자
then we need to
등록 안
change
하신
the?
분들이
이미 하신 분들.
Oh, then we better change the. This is a good test. We need to change this.
그럼 그러니까 그냥 지금 새로운 분들이 아니고 지금 벌써 voter registration 하신 분들이 나오면은 아무 그거.
그럼 한국 사람만 다 투표를 해도 시장 뽑는데 문제가 없다는 얘기잖아요.
시장 뽑는데 문제가 아니라 그 가능성이 있다는 거죠. 왜냐하면 그냥 미국 사람들이 더 들어올 수도 있지만 그만큼 포텐셜이 있다는 걸 얘기해
Right.
줍니다.
So
잠깐 아까도 그러면 이게 등록한 사람이 11,133명이?
그거는 군의 카운티.
그러니까 고액카운이 이 정도예요?
예.
그럼 이거 말고 많아요? 그러니까 이거는 정확한 통계예요, 아니면은?
아니죠. 11,140만 건 다 유권자가 아니라 시민권자의 18세 이상 시민권자가
그러니까 이거는
아니에요.
센서스에 응한 사람인지 아니면은 의무적으로 다 한 건지 통계로.
응한 사람이죠.
응한 사람.
응한 사람.
오케이. 아니 그 아메리칸 팩파인더 서베이에 이게 다 나왔거든요.
우리나라는 다 하는데 미국은 안 해도 그만이에요?
그렇죠. 유권자 등록도 자기의
센서스 응하지 않아도 그만이요?
네, 센서스는 대답 안 해도 상관없어요.
그래요?
안 하는 분들도
많아요. 네.
So basically the point is for the Korean community, we have two problems. One, many of us, okay, we're not talking about legal permanent residents and those that aren't citizens. We understand that, right? That they can't vote no matter what. So we were trying to research how many Koreans, based on the census, that's really the most accurate data that the government recognizes, that states, based on the census, what is the estimate of Korean, American, US citizens over the age of 18 that can vote? So our estimate is at least 11,000. It's probably bigger than that, honestly. But we don't, so we have two problems. Those that can vote, that are not even registered to vote. I already showed you, less than 50% of those people that could be registered to vote are registered. Second, even those that are registered to vote don't go out to vote. They don't go out to vote. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if just 10,000 Korean American citizens in Gwinnett signed the petition we're going to send out and registered to vote and voted in 2014, I can promise you three things. One, sooner than later, we will get ballots in Gwinnett County elections into Korean. Think about how many more people would feel comfortable going to vote, okay? I saw this happen in Houston. They changed the ballots to Vietnamese. The next year, a Vietnamese American was elected. And he is still a state representative in Houston. Okay, that's what so I can promise, I don't know when, but I promise you this will help, okay? Two, because I showed you what the law says. Two, we can elect who we want. When politicians realize we are powerful, trust me, whatever you, comfort women, we want a statue of comfort women in Duluth. We want Congressman Rob Woodall to support House resolution, blah, blah, blah. I hate to say, why do American politicians support Israel and Jewish people in Israel so much? Do you know why? Because Jewish people in America vote. It's not because people in Israel send money to the American government. It's because Jewish Americans vote. Do you have a question?
통계가 약간 좀 이해가 안 가게 지금 그래가지고.
What? Go ahead.
네, 아니 지금 귀네 카운티가 한국계 미국인이 미국 시민 13,000명인데 그중에서 18세 이상이 18,000명. 근데 등록이 등록이 11,143명이잖아요.
아니 그게 18세 이상이에요.
4,600명.
So Alice, maybe
18,000명은
you can
뭐야?
speak with him offline.
18세 이상.
아니 등록한 거는 Duluth 그 넘버만 있는 거고요. 이거는 센서스로 통해서 계산한 거고.
가능.
이거는 가능한 분들. 그
eligible
Duluth는
가능.
이미
가능한데
register 한
지금
분들.
이제 46,100개.
그러니까 요 이제 벌써 registered 한 4,605명이 이제 register 한 거예요. 이 가능성은 좀 만 명 넘는데. 네, 그래도 나는 이제 우리가 얘기해드리고 싶은 거는 그 많은 숫자가 있으면은 뮤니시퍼 러시는 하도 그 투표 안 하시니까 한인들이 다 나가면은 당연히 뽑고 싶은 사람은 우리가 뽑을 수 있다 그런 얘기 해드리라고.
그러면 2013년에 투표한 사람 거는 없는 거예요.
투표한 사람 몇 명? 그게
그건
없어요.
없는 거죠.
그거는 그 Secretary of State에서 그거
They don't keep
안
it.
해요.
They only say, so that kind of stuff, how many Koreans voted in 2010?
Yeah.
우리는 그 같은 거
여기는 제가 센서스하고
2010.
그 퍼센티지하고 대충 그 에스티메이트 한 거예요.
오케이.
이제 그 우리가 한인들이 에이시안들의 몇 프로 voter이니까 그 아시안들 다 투표하신 분들의 그 퍼센티지 세명은 이만큼 나와요. 그런데
That's a problem to Georgia예요.
Okay.
Okay, Georgia는요, the Secretary of State, they only keep Asian numbers. We're all Asian. That is a problem. So that's the kind of stuff we do. We try to research and analyze the numbers as best as we can, so we can start pushing for things. What were you going to say, Andy?
여기서 지금 그 제가 2002년도서부터 여기 그 어틀란타에 그 이사 와가지고 살고 있습니다만은 이러한 자료가 나오기 전까지만 해도 한인들이 대충 어느 정도 살고 있다. 야, 왜 한인이 뭐 시원이나 시장 못하냐 이렇게 많이 산다는데 어떤 그 이 정확한 그 이 자료를 가지고 얘기할 수 있는 게 없었어요. 가능성만 얘기를 했었던 것뿐이죠. 그러나 이러한 그 자료 조사를 이제 에일락에 있는 우리 그 헬렌 김 그 대표하고 앨리스하고 이렇게 인턴 되신 분들이 이러한 자료 수집을 지금 정리를 한 거를 보니까는 이러한 숫자의 통계상에서 우리 한인들이 이제는 정말이지 둘루스 시장도 될 수 있는 그만한 숫자가 됐다는 걸 직접 증명을 해주는 그러한 포인트가 되고, 그 다음에 그렇게 함으로 인해서 우리가 이러한 카운티로부터 그 얻어낼 수 있는 그러한 것들을 주장을 했을 때 우리가 유권자 등록을 해가지고 있으면은 이제는 스윙 보트가 많아지니까는 이 사람들이 우리를 갖다가 그냥 여기 와서 사는 사람들, 여기 와서 돈 쓰는 사람들, 이러한 그 한인 그 이 사회로 생각하지 않고 자기네들이 이 사람들은 더 저기를 해야 되겠다는 직접적인 그 영향력을 줄 수 있다는 그 자료를 가능성을 갖다가 그냥 그 생각에서 그 머리에서 떠오르는 그것이 아니라 직접적인 것을 증명을 해주는 보이는 것이죠. 그 자료를 그 준비를 했다는 자체가 이분들이 굉장히 엄청난 일을 했다는 거 보고, 그로 인해서 제가 이제 그 우리 에일락에 있는 헬렌 김 대표의 저번 날 미팅을 하면서 자, 그럼 우리가 가지고 있는 자료를 같이 최대한 이용을 해가지고 한인 그 지금 건물이 이렇게 해서 지금 다시 시작이 됐는데 그러한 귀네 카운티에 가서 이러한 자료를 가지고 우리가 그 이 그랜트라든가 정부에서 받을 수 있는 프로그램이든가 이런 걸 하는데 한번 시도를 해보자 하는 얘기가 됐던 겁니다. 그래서 오늘 공동으로 그 이 기자회견을 하는 이유 중에 하나는 자, 어틀란타에 있는 우리의 그 한인들이 이제는 우리가 충분히 숫자적으로도 이러한 미국 사회에 정치적으로 들어갈 수도 있고 가능성을 갖다가 충분히 갖췄다는 것을 아시고, 또 우리는 미국 정부로부터 우리가 세금을 내는 나라에서 우리가 받아올 수 있는 프로그램들을 이러한 자료가 없었을 때는 힘들지만은 이러한 자료가 있기 때문에 그런 걸 가지고 이만큼 됩니다. 이만큼 우리가 저기를 하고 있습니다. 하고 얘기를 할 수 있을 때 그 사람들의 마음을 더 움직여줄 수 있다는 것을 오늘 이 헬렌 김 대표가 설명하는 그 취지라고 저는 생각을 합니다.
감사합니다. And exactly what he said. And I was going to say, so power, political power, which will help us get comfort women stuff, whatever this House resolution, remember the example I gave you of Jewish Americans. Republicans and Democrats running for president always speak to the Jewish American people, never say anything negative about Israel. Because Jewish people in America, they vote. Korean Americans here that can vote, actually we act like pabos. Honestly, we create so many jobs, own so many businesses, pay so much taxes. Our children occupy some of the best schools. We don't vote. Politicians could care less. Okay, so power, money, like Andy said, government grants, how much money goes into the Korean community, getting a community center for Haniwek, all those things are actually tied to voting. And a second press conference I'll put together with the census so they can explain better the connection with census and voting power. Okay, I just talked yesterday to the head of the redistricting office in DC for census. We showed her this. She knows it's accurate. It's really more a politics thing of Koreans filling out the form and proving it to the census later. Okay? But 진짜 재밌어. I'm really, really excited.
저기
네.
그러면 10%만 결국 보트한다는 거잖아요.
어디요?
에스티메이트 엘리저블이 11,000명인데 그 중에서 1,000명만 투표했다는데.
Are registered.
네.
아니, 맨 밑에.
맨 밑에.
2010.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
10%만 투표한다는 거 아니에요, 결국? 그거 아니에요?
아니 연도가 달라요.
계산도
그러니까 그렇게 뭐 대충 보면 10% 하는데 그 이유가 왜 그렇게 보세요?
Why are the Korean people, even the registered voters, but the actual voting is so low? Why?
You tell me. You tell me.
Okay.
We do this every day. Honestly, I could make 8 times more money doing something else. But I grew up here, I grew up in South Carolina. I want our Korean community to build real power so we can have a good future, a real future for our Korean community. I don't know. I don't know. You know why? I'm going to tell you the truth. A lot of our community, we think with old Korea mindset. 그냥 혼자 일하고 우리 가족 위해서 이거 하고 저거 하고 교회 돈 좀 나고 미국 사람하고 안 되고 just all I have to do is work at my store. Push my kids to go to Harvard. That's it. That's it. That's why. Other times it's because people don't care. You care more about what's going on in Korea than here in America. Even though you work here, your house is here. How weird is that? We're not being smart. That's why. That's why. And that's why we're doing this 10,000 Korean votes, because we know Korean people, they think just about Korean people. We got 한국 보인 다. Just for Koreans, even if Korean people don't know why they're voting, if we tell them 하나씩 다 vote하면 we can get ballots in Korean. We're hoping maybe that will help Koreans vote, because when we say 한국인, 우리 아시아 사람 다 같이 이거 하고 저거 하고 그러면 우리 state 더 잘 살아요. You know what Korean people say? 그냥 한국 사람 아니까 I don't care. So
Yeah.
you tell me why.
Okay, I'll tell you why. Come down. 제 부모님들이 가장 투표를 하지 않았던 이유는
Language?
No.
No?
그렇죠, language이지 뭐 결국은. 나중에 저 주리들이 배심원 불려나기 싫은 거가 하나의 핑계라고 볼 수 있고, 그다음에 두 번째로는 자영업을 하고 뭐를 하면서 미국 사회에서도 그러한 것을 위해서 신경을 갖다가 쓰는 거에 대해서 별로 그렇게 관심을 못 가졌다는 거하고, 세 번째로는 자기 아이들이 전부 다 뭐 의사, 변호사 뭐 이런 쪽에 전문직에 나갔으면 하는 거지. 정말 그 당시만 하더라도 뭐 지금도 많은 좀 변화는 있었지만은 그래도 내 애가 한국인이라는 정체성을 가지고 미국 주류사회에 가서 정치인을 한다는 거는 더 힘들겠다는 생각들을 많이 또 지배를 했다고 저는 그런 면에서 세 가지를 들 수 있고요. 하여튼간에 중요한 것은 이제 한인사회가 여기에 이제 10만이 넘는 한인들이 이제 자리를 하고 있다고 하지만은 더욱더 이 조지아라든가 이런 애틀랜타 이쪽에서 더 지금 유리한 거는 그 LA나 뭐 뉴욕이나 이러한 그 큰 대도시의 한인들의 인구에 비하면은 뭐 아주 택도 없이 아주 작은 한인 사회지만은 그러나 우리가 이 조지아의 특히 하고 알라바마에 그 기아하고 그 이 뭐 현대 자동차가 들어오면서 이 많은 기업들이 들어와 있기 때문에 우리들이 그 미국 그 이쪽 특히 이제 조지아 쪽에 들어가서 할 수 있는 것들이 점점 기회가 더 커지고 있다는 겁니다. 그래서 그 기회를 갖다가 지금부터 포착을 하자는 것이 이러한 지금 운동에 그 밑바닥에 깔려 있는 그러한 그 지금 기본적인 그런 요소들이 좀 잠재하고 있다는 것을 기자님들이 조금 그 고려를 잘 해주셔가지고 앞으로 이제 그 한인 사회가 아까도 말씀드렸지만 1세보다 1.5세 2세들의 그 숫자가 늘어남으로 인해서 여기 지금 인터넷에 계신 분들이 다 뭐 영어권이시고 이렇게 되는 그 1.5세 2세들 아닙니까? 이러한 분들이 더 나갈 수 있는 그러한 길들을 갖다가 터주는 데 있어서 가장 저렴하고 가장 쉽고 가장 힘있게 할 수 있는 것이 바로 유권자 등록을 한다는 것이다. 그 자체만으로도 그 자제분들한테 큰 도움을 주고 떠나시게 된다는 걸 생각합니다.
Thank you, Andy. So, 미안해 that I got so passionate. One of the reasons why this is important, when I grew up, there were hardly any Koreans here. So no matter what we did as the Korean community, it wouldn't matter. But we have probably 80,000 Koreans living in Metro Atlanta at least. So if we just got 10,000 Koreans to vote in Gwinnett, we have the numbers and the power right now. It's just a matter of the Koreans that can vote to vote. It's really that simple. And that's what's so exciting. We can do it right now, but we need all those. And we will follow up with each of the press newspapers because we want to partner with you. We know that educating people through ads will be important. One more thing, and I want my 친구 동윤, who's an experienced organizer in Virginia, to talk. One of the most important issues for us and why voting is important, one of the top issues is immigration reform. I'm sure you heard recently President Obama did a speech, was it yesterday? Monday? He said the Congress has said they're not going to pass immigration reform this year, so he's going to do his own thing. I appreciate President Obama wants to do his own thing, but it's not enough. Again, Congress people are elected by us, by people that vote. So we are going to push very hard. And if you don't think immigration reform impacts the Korean community, we have one of the largest undocumented communities in the country. And we should not be chimpy about it. It's just a fact. It's because the laws that are so old, the laws are out of date. It's not a right or a wrong thing. The laws are old. And we shouldn't look at people that we know in a bad way. It happens. But I'm going to stop because I really asked Tongyin to stick around to talk a little bit about what they've been doing because they're so close to DC. Virginia has a huge Korean population.
죄송하지만 한국말이 어려워서 영어로 할게요. So the National Korean American Service and Education Consortium has been around since 1994, specifically fighting for immigration reform. We started in 1994 to fight Proposition 187 in California at a time of high anti-immigrant sentiment and legislation. Right now, with Congress not moving forward on immigration reform and President Obama moving forward on his actions to provide relief for our immigrant families, NAPASEC and our other AAPI organizations, including the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance, OCA, and the Japanese American Citizenship League, along with a lot of national Latino organizations. We have issued report cards specifically on immigration reform. The report card is what you get at school. It's a grade, and there's a percentage, and you are scored on how you vote on immigration reform. There are about 7 criteria. I'll send the information over to Helen,
and I'll send it all.
She'll send it on forward, and we're going to use this, our report card, to educate our community members so that they'll vote for our immigrant families come November for our midterm elections. to show our voice and our power. And I think that's what. 감사합니다.